Hello, viewers. Welcome to the YouTube channel Lex Consilium Foundation and the playlist Going Strong. Here in conversation with Commodore Ranjit Rai, the well known military historian, naval strategist. You have already heard him more than a dozen times speaking about very distinguished images, profiles for the Indian Navy, the incidents, and otherwise matters of significance. Welcome, Commodore. Today, in the light of the ongoing, if I can say, ongoing Iran war, because the ceasefire talks have disappeared, ongoing Iran war, the whole globe has witnessed the leverage used by Iran by its control and closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Now, this was one single incident or one single object, if I can say, target, which was very effectively used by Iran. I would request you, for the information of the viewers of this channel, if you can elaborate about the significance, the history of Strait of Hormuz. How was it used in the region or for the global maritime trade? What is its significance to West Asia and other allied connected matters? All yours, sir.
Speak about the Straits of Hormuz, we must begin and tell the viewers who are going to watch your channel that they must know the sea gives space to economy. Sea gives space to power. Sea gives space to superpowers. Therefore, in the 1600s, there was Holland. The Dutch were the leaders. India was far away doing its own business and we had a peaceful surrounding. But in Europe, the battle between France, England, and Holland began, the Dutch. Therefore, there was a man called Hugo Gracious who decided that the white people, we must make some arrangement between ourselves, that we are doing big trade. But how do we regulate the trade? But he said, freedom of the seas, Hugo Gracious, 1609. So that became the abiding principle that the seas are free to anybody. And therefore, we must remember even the Straits of Hormuz are supposed to be free to anybody. We will come to that later. International law also was found on seagoing law because ships were all over the world. Now, if my ship needed money far away in another port, I could get a dit. So the word IOU came into being.
Okay.
And you could sign an IOU. And such terms came into being, and so many of them in international law are from the seas. You had the sister ship problem that if I did not pay an IOU in a particular place and my sister ship was in another port, it could be arrested. Understanding that legal matters all begin with the sea. So we have to end up with the Hormuz Strait.
Quite
We
right.
will coming to the Hormuz Strait. We must know that in 1982, the United Nations had a convention on the laws of the seas, and they said it very, very clearly. And I'll mention the five principles: the freedom of seas open to mankind. Second, every nation will have 12 nautical miles, which will be its own territory, territorial waters. All laws of the nation will apply on those 12 nautical miles. 24 nautical miles extended territorial water where you had many more rights, and beyond that, you had the right hot chase. So suppose you committed a crime, even 11 kilometers from my country, and you ran away. I could chase you to the end of the world and catch you. And that is where navies come into being. That is where constabulary coast guards come into being. Then they also decided that the straits will be free for navigation. Therefore, there is no doubt today that UNCLOS 1982, but it started from 9 miles of nautical territorial water to 12. That was the range of the gun in 1982. Now missiles came into being, internet came into being, technologies changed, and United Nations had decided there will be another convention to make new laws of the seas. I think the world is at that tipping point where UNCLOS is being challenged. And before this, America has put United Nations into the postbox. Nobody's obeying United Nations. Vetoes are there, regulations are low, and protection of human beings is not being there. A word about India. In India, the laws of the seas responsibility was given to the Indian Navy. Captain Rear Admiral Sharma is known in the world as the authority on international maritime law.
O.P.
But
Sharma.
slowly, yes, yes. And but slowly, the Navy was involved in international law. The government, the way we work in India, it transferred to the Coast Guard, and now it is with the Ministry of Ocean Resources. So it's been a very confused state in India, and therefore, even when I read the newspapers yesterday, Ushpal, one justice, chief justice, or one of the justices of the Supreme Court, has said we cannot trust arbitration in India unless it is very knowledgeable and it has got integrity. That also is a seagoing matter, whether you have a mortgage problem, whether we have a seagoing, and with the inflows came into being the admiralty courts. So every state in India has a high court, a supreme court, and there are few admiralty courts which go into this specialized discussion. So now we can only go back and say India had a very, very sad event called capture of Enrica Lexi, an Italian marine ship. It's a famous case. It came in the papers. We had no legal right to keep her. She was in international waters, but we held on to her, and it's a sad state. India lost the case. But the two Italian Marines, Salvatore was one of their names. I met him, and he remained in incarceration in India for years, fell sick. So now we have come to the Hormuz. Hormuz is a strait. Malacca is a straits. All straits in the world are free for navigation. Free for navigation means two things. One is innocent passage. Every ship, whether it is a warship, whether it is a merchant ship, it must do innocent passage. Innocent passage means steady speed, no diversion from its navigational direction, no underwater work, cannot use its sonar, cannot fire any gun or any weapon, and must carry on in that form. If it is not, it can be accosted. So, freedom of navigation gives you freedom of passage, innocent passage. Therefore, any ship can come even to my territorial water. It can go through my territory, just few miles from Mumbai, as long as it's innocent passage going from A to B. So therefore, coming to the Hormuz, it was a simple case. The world was using the Persian Gulf, picking up all the ship, picking up energy, oil, naphtha, and gas, and passing, and the world economy was rising at times beyond 4 to 5% every year. GDP of nations was rising. But now that we have come to this Iran war, the background is, I think Winston Churchill said, oil will win the war. When Germany lost its oil, it lost the war. When it lost its transportation for oil, it lost the war. When India went on the Kargil mission on 4th of July, Pakistan was told by President Clinton in the Oval Office, Mr. Sharif, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, that if you do not fall back on the Kargil heights, India will blockade you like it did in 1971.
Commodore, if we come to Strait of Hormuz, if we look at the UNCLOS, and as and when the law is amended, we do not know, but the existing law, you have spoken about the right of innocent passage. Then what is the justification for Iran to use it and in a manner that it has exclusive control on whom would he allow the ships to cross and what charges, etc., would it levy? Would you throw light on that?
You have been a judge advocate. Every country today which has got power decides foreign policy and law. America has forsaken, and attacked Iran. Theoretically, to attack those civilians is illegal. So therefore, it is not listening to United Nations laws of the seas. So why can Iran not also do the same and say, I'm not listening to the laws of the seas because of some threat to my nation? I think we now have to go away, but we won't go into Geneva Charter of War and what are the rules that govern war. So since Israel has even gone further, it is killing civilians. So what is the law we are talking about? So Iran has decided that it had no weapons in its armory against a superpower called America, and therefore they are very clever people. They made these drones, they made these missiles, they have got enriched uranium, and even though we're sanctioned, where did all this? So you're absolutely right, being a judge advocate of the army, that they have done something which is illegal. It is legal in the modern sense that, listen, I've got these straits and I have a feeling, and I'm being very bold. You charge money when you go through the straits, Suez Canal. You charge money when you go through the Panama Canal because they maintain it and it was built at a cost. The Straits of Hormuz and the Straits of Malacca is God given straits. So Hugo gracious to be thanked. But in this particular case, Iran can turn around that I'm going to give you safe navigation. It is actually doing that today. Only 18 ships or so have passed in the few days. It is charging a toll, but he's at war with United States of America. And therefore, when you are at war with a country, you tell that country, I will not allow your ships to pass through my waters. They are his territorial waters. They belong to Iran. So I'm trying to
Exactly.
weigh. So theoretically, and even yesterday, Iran has found that they have gone and put mines in that area, and therefore they have issued a notice to mariners that ships have to go in a different way. They have actually given a map, which I think you will show, that on a chart how they are to go around Straits of Hormuz. And of course, Oman is the next door neighbor who, being a smaller country, a poorer country, has said, I will not charge toll. And therefore, you have to toe the line of United States if you want to remain in their good books. Iran is not in their good books. Luckily, the war has been paused, though Israel has not paused, and the sticking points are only two, which we will not go into detail: enrichment and the bomb. But the only ammunition Iran has got, that I will strangle the Hormuz and Straits, no oil will pass through, and if the Houthis do the same to the Bab el Mandab and call it a Straits, then oil will not flow to 35% and more to China, to Japan, to Maldives, to Bangladesh, to all the poorer countries in the East. And therefore, I'm very happy that you have brought up this subject. I hope one is clear to people. Freedom of the seas, which was in the UNCLOS 1982, with the promise that we'll have a new convention because many, many things in shipping have changed. And today, legally, the Hormuz is supposed to be free for navigation. Legally, Iran cannot stop any ship as long as it abides by innocent passage.
Now,
Whether it is
here is that question that there is a right to innocent passage, but this has to be consistent upon the right of Iran or any coastal state. Make sure that it is innocent passage. So they can always check up, like you have just mentioned, that mines have been laid there without the knowledge or without the permission of Iran. Likewise, there could be the ships passing through and which may contribute to the war efforts of Iran's adversaries. How would you look at that?
Absolutely wonderful point you have put. Naturally, I will not allow a warship to come unless I have some absolute confirmation that they will make an innocent passage. I hope you read the papers in the last 1 week.
Yes,
Russian tankers who are not under a particular flag are being escorted by Russian warships off the coast of England. A British warship is following them but cannot stop them, cannot board them because that is innocent passage. The warship is doing an innocent passage. These flags of convenience, or what they call the dark ships, they are going through. But we cannot see that an American ship can be called a dark ship in the
yes,
eyes of
quite
Iran.
right.
So,
Next question to you is that the threat or the warning given by Iran to indicate its control over the Strait of Hormuz, can this be neutralized by the US naval efforts?
being a bit of a pseudo historian, whenever a navy comes into play, the likelihood of a bigger war becomes evident. If by chance America decides to use its superpower navy coming into the Straits of Hormuz and Iran decides to attack it by the three means left with it: underwater drones, over the air drones, short range missiles, or kamikaze boats. They had imported speedboats for tourism from America and England. They have armed them with small armament, missiles, and ammunition, gunpowder. They can go and ram, as they did once before, an American ship in Aden. So, therefore, we are looking at a very serious scenario. And if you read the words of President Trump, he says, I will open the Straits of Hormuz. Of course, it is open. It is open to Indian shipping. Of course, it is open to non American friendly ships. Only thing they are charging a toll. And that's all they're doing. They have not completely stopped the Hormuz. Indian ships India has been receiving, maybe China is being receiving, and therefore Trump is in a fix. As you and I are discussing, a very serious point. Who says the Straits of Hormuz is closed? It is closed to the enemies of Iran. And we are not, we are in a ceasefire position, and therefore it is common sense. I am not saying anything which is more intellectual, that some ships which are friendly to Iran are being allowed to go through. They've set fire to two other ships. There has been an Indian sailor, poor chap, who's died in this. So I would love to have question from you, if I have not been made clear, that theoretically Iran feels the Straits of Hormuz is open, but not to you, Mr. Trump, and not to your friends. He is challenging that I will jolly well make it. He has attacked Iran. He has decimated some of their facilities. He thinks he has achieved a lot, but he has neither achieved three items. Regime change? No. Mojtaba is being the new Ayatollah's son. He's being very clever. He's not coming on TV. He's not opening his telephone, because all these locations are known to Israel's Mossad in America and to Silicon Valley. And therefore, if he is found somewhere, they will kill him. They will send a missile flying there.
This peace talks that broke down in Islamabad, do you suspect that passage through the Strait of Hormuz is the main thorny issue between the two warring sides?
Yes, one of the two major thorny issues.
Okay.
Trump is not talking much about regime change. He says the new regime which has come seems to be little more cordial, according to him. But he's talking very strongly and has said Iran will never have the bomb. He doesn't know that if India has the bomb, if Pakistan has the bomb, Israel has the bomb, Saudi Arabia is trying for the bomb, Iraq tried for the bomb. How can
And Israel.
Iraq tried? Iran would also have an ambition. But Iran has promised that they will not have a bomb, but you can't stop them from enrichment because the world is going to green energy. So, therefore, every country is thinking of nuclear energy beside other green energy. So, it is again that Iran did not ever do anything wrong in the JCPO. We have gone back to JCPO, the same items. And yes, Hormuz is the new challenge, but they are not stopping shipping. Theoretically, they are obeying the UNCLOS. They are charging a little fee, which even Bangladesh wanted to charge India. I have been in shipping. I have taken my cargo for a company from Chittagong to Assam, but they did not give us night navigation. They said if you want night navigation, you have to pay for the lighting and all the navigation. So even now, he's giving you navigation. He's saving you from the mines. He's doing something, it costs Iran. So Iran says, I'm going to charge you a toll. This has irritated America and Trump. And I must say, I don't think Vice President Plans was given any levy to give up the Hormuz or the bomb.
Thanks a lot, Commodore. And your enunciation of this thorny issue would definitely inform and enrich our viewers. Thank you.
Thank you.